Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something absolutely fascinating and honestly incredibly relevant. It's a timeless philosophy pulled right from a chapter in Albert Pike's Morals and Dogma called The Knight of the East. Now, if you've been with us before, you know we've looked inward at things like discipline and integrity, but today we're shifting our focus outward. We're looking at how to face life's ultimate setbacks. We're going to explore how we navigate total loss, how we forge just unshakable resilience, and ultimately how we rebuild our lives from the ground up when modern disasters, the ones that hit our careers, our businesses, our families, come knocking. So what do you do when absolutely everything has been taken from you? It's a pretty heavy thought, right? Take a second and really consider the reality of total loss. We're not talking about a minor inconvenience here. We're talking about a moment where your stability is just completely wiped off the map. Maybe it's a sudden corporate layoff that instantly erases your livelihood, or a market crash that just swallows your life's work whole. Well, this is the exact scenario the philosophy of the Knight of the East was built to address. It doesn't flinch at the reality of devastation. Instead, it actually gives us a rigorous, philosophical blueprint for exactly what comes next. To get there, we're going to map out the path of the modern knight. We'll start with the modern knight's challenge, move into redefining true inner freedom, and then explore forging resilience in adversity. After that, we'll look at the architecture of rebuilding, and finally, transformation through modern hope. Okay, part 1, the modern knight's challenge, navigating exile and loss. So, in the historical and philosophical context of the text, exile meant literal displacement, right? You lose your kingdom, you're stripped of your status, and you face total uncertainty in some foreign land. But here's the thing, our modern challenges, they are the exact equivalent. A sudden career shift, a lost job, a failed startup, or just sweeping economic instability, all of that plunges us into the exact same psychological terrain. When these modern crises hit, we experience that same emotional exile. We are displaced from the lives and the identities we thought we knew so well. Sure, our modern world might not have ancient kings and literal banishment, but man, that crushing weight of having to start over from absolute zero, that remains entirely unchanged. And this philosophy doesn't shy away from the brutal reality of that hardship. It embraces it as a fundamental part of the human experience. But, and this is a huge but, loss becomes a turning point, not an ending. Pike's text forcefully frames the moment of your deepest loss as the starting line for your greatest period of growth. That bankruptcy or that out-of-nowhere corporate layoff, it isn't the end of your story. It's actually the exact moment your real journey kicks off. It's a profound paradigm shift. Instead of looking at the destruction of your plans as a total defeat, you're challenged to see it as clearing the ground for a much, much stronger structure. Which brings us to part 2, redefining true inner freedom, the fortress within. Look, before you can even think about fixing the outside world, you have to lock down your internal world. Pike suggests that true freedom isn't merely some physical state. It's an internal liberation. It's characterized by independence of thought, strength of character, and a really profound freedom from fear. Think about it. When you face that modern exile of losing a career, you simply cannot rely on a paycheck or a job title for your stability. Keeping your peace of mind during a chaotic corporate restructure or an industry collapse, that requires an ironclad internal foundation. As a modern knight, you have to secure this inner fortress first. You need to be completely free in your own mind and unshakably strong in your character before you can even begin to rebuild the tangible walls around you. Part 3, forging resilience in adversity, the crucible. Now, resilience is the critical, active response we need to survive these periods of modern exile. The text demands 3 absolutely uncompromising requirements. The knight must endure hardship, maintain strength, and flat out refuse to give up. Because true resilience isn't passive, right? It's not just sitting around waiting for the economic storm to blow over or hoping a new job magically falls into your lap. No, it is an active, stubborn, gritty refusal to surrender to your circumstances. It's that sheer willpower to take the next step, send the next application, or make that next sales call, even when the rejection is just crushing. In this modern crucible, endurance is a deliberate choice you have to make every single day. And it really all boils down to this core realization. True strength is revealed in adversity, not in comfort. Let's be honest, comfort has never forged a resilient character. When the economy is booming and everything is easy, well, anyone can look strong. But it's in the crucible of loss, when you're being tested by inflation or shattered business plans or the sudden loss of stability. That's when true strength is actually forged and revealed. Adversity strips away the illusion that everything is fine, leaving only your raw character behind. Let's move on to part 4, the architecture of rebuilding, constructing the new self. So rebuilding is definitely not about just forgetting the past. It's about deeply analyzing it. Step 1, you must reflect on past experiences. Step 2, you have to honestly understand your mistakes, and you have to do it completely without ego. And step 3, you use those lessons to move forward. It's a lot like doing a really rigorous postmortem on a failed project. Real growth only comes from extreme self-awareness. If you just try to blindly launch a new startup or jump into a new career path without actually learning why the last one fell apart, you are literally doomed to repeat the exact same collapse. The modern knight takes those harsh lessons and uses the rubble of the past as an unbreakable foundation for the future. But what does the actual act of rebuilding require? As you can see, it demands a perfectly equal balance. About a third vision, a third effort, and a third patience. You need the vision to clearly see what your next career or business can be. You need the sheer effort to do the heavy lifting, day in and day out. And, maybe the hardest part, you need the patience to understand that creating something stronger than what was destroyed takes time. In our instant gratification culture, we always want the comeback to happen overnight, don't we? But the architecture of real renewal is slow, it's deliberate, and it absolutely requires all 3 of these elements working together to succeed. Finally, part 5, transformation through modern hope, the return. Okay, so we've talked a lot about effort and resilience, but what actually fuels those things? Hope. Hope is the essential driving force here. Without it, your effort fades, your motivation completely disappears, and progress just grinds to a halt. And we're not talking about hope as some naive, feel-good emotion or luxury. In the philosophy of the Knight of the East, hope is a tactical necessity. It is the raw fuel for survival. When your bank account is drained or your reputation has taken a massive hit, holding on to hope is quite literally what keeps the hammer swinging. It's that deep-seated, unshakable belief that the actions you take today will actually forge a better tomorrow. And when you combine that hope with your vision, your efforts, and your patience, something incredible happens. Through all the loss, the struggle, and the honestly exhausting effort of rebuilding, you don't just go back to who you were before. The source text is crystal clear on this ultimate transformation. You are not the same person who began the journey. You emerge from that crucible wiser, stronger, and just vastly more capable. Having survived the absolute worst that modern life can throw at you, whether that's a brutal layoff or a devastating personal setback, you are now equipped with an unbreakable internal fortress. The person who successfully rebuilds is exponentially more prepared for the future than someone who has never experienced loss. So, when we pull all of these pieces together, we're left with an incredibly actionable framework. By securing our inner freedom, we start to recognize that our deepest losses are actually catalysts for massive growth. Through stubborn, gritty resilience and a perfectly balanced architecture of vision, effort, and patience, we do the genuinely hard work of creating a new reality. And by guarding our hope as a tactical necessity, we allow that drive to push us toward our ultimate transformation. Guys, this isn't just surviving, it is evolving. We've mapped out the journey from ancient philosophy directly to the reality of our modern lives. Because we all face setbacks, shattered plans, and our own personal versions of exile. The real question is just how you respond to it. Do you let the loss stop you, or do you let it shape you? I want to leave you with one powerful reflection to carry into your own modern battles. What are you rebuilding in your life right now? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. And just remember, even after total loss, you absolutely have the profound power to rise again.